so excited about today. So much going on. So I just want to tell everybody all the things that we got going on today. For starters, at 9:30, we have our pre-game, which you can listen to. We encourage you to join us as you're driving in. Check into the pre-game. We've got some awesome things lined up. We got some fun games going on. And then, of course, the drive-in. So at 10:30, begin to arrive. We're encouraging you guys to come in. We're going to get started at 11. We've got things for the kids. If you're new and joining us for the first time, this would be the perfect opportunity for you to be here at First Church. Again, guys, we're really excited. If you can't make it, if you're not feeling well, if you can't be with us, we will again be broadcasting. You can listen on the radio. You can watch us live streaming. But if you do plan to get here early, get here and bring all that energy with you. Again, we're super excited to have you. God bless you, and we'll see you shortly.
To fulfill the law and prophets, to a virgin came the word. From the throne of endless glory, to a cradle in the dirt.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Lake Michigan College. This is Al Pasholka on campus along with Chris Britton at First Church of God. and we have got a special day planned here on News Talk WSJM 94.9 as we bring you the first drive-in service. So welcome home, welcome back, welcome, Chris, as the 12 walls of First Church extend to Lake Michigan College and beyond. And you know, the church has never been closed. We've had online services for a number of weeks, but talk about what a special event this is today, that we're finally, at least in vehicles, going to get to see the church family and other people in the community who want to join.
Yeah, no, this is really exciting. Thanks, Al. First of all, for those of you wondering, when Al first told me like the 12 walls, I was like, what? Don't buildings normally have 4? Because we have 3 campuses. So Al's a pretty smart guy. Apparently, he knows a thing or two about numbers.
Well, it's a math thing, you know.
Yeah,
Being the budget director, you're a math thing.
Yeah. So yeah, we're really excited to be here today. I mean, again, like Al said, the church we never closed. We just transitioned. We pivoted really quickly to online-only services, and that was great. We saw some great online communities develop. But really, there's something special about gathering together in person. This is just a really exciting time for us.
And folks, wherever you are in your faith journey, it doesn't matter. And you don't have to be a member of First Church to come out to Lake Michigan College and join us today. Take exit 30 off Napier Avenue, come down Harrison Way. That's the main drive that takes you into campus. We're going to be on the left side. So if you're familiar with campus at all, we are right in front of Beckwith Hall, which is the dorms. So the Mendel Center would be to your right. We are going to be to your left. There's going to be a ton of folks out here from First Church of God to help get you situated. Already, we've got a handful of cars that have made their way here. So lots of folks here to help you. And when you're on campus, you can hear us on 94.9 or on 88.3 FM, a little closed circuit broadcast as well. And with us is the guy that helps put all this stuff together, the lead pastor, Pastor David Culp. And this is an exciting day, and we're going to be talking about a lot of the things going on at the church, but let's talk about today specifically. And you know, Pastor, a lot of folks they're struggling. Yeah. They're struggling through the pandemic. They're struggling with what happened in Minnesota and the terrible tragedy that happened to George Floyd. And now we've got, on top of that, there's a storm coming toward New Orleans, another possible hurricane. And why is it important that people get back to the Word of God and the church and to be together?
And is my mic on? Is it good? We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I was worried about
Boy,
it.
they better have the boss's mic on. If they don't have the boss's mic on, there's trouble over here.
Well, they typically only give me like a 30-minute battery, so I might need to change out before the other, what we got to do later. Yeah, I think we need the church, and I'm so delighted that things are loosening up here in the state where we can be back together. It's one thing to be together in online, and the church has continued to operate, but this is a critical time in our nation, and people are hurting and they need hope, and so this is an opportunity for us to spread some hope and encouragement.
Yeah, and I don't want you to give away the sermon, but last week you talked about kind of 4 big principles that are out there that help not only drive the church but help individuals, and I think today's message is kind of, you're expounding upon that, and where is God, and where are we, and how can we really make a difference?
And clearly there's just brokenness everywhere, and the church has got to step up. We cannot be silent and just continue to be in the, off to the sidelines and let, that's not our arena. No, the arena where people are hurting and struggling, that's our arena. So to abdicate our responsibility, as we would say, Chris Britton, that dog doesn't hunt.
That's right. And Chris does important work with New Heights, and we're going to get an opportunity throughout the course of this hour. This is kind of the pregame, and I had said to David earlier in the week, I said, well, the Super Bowl gets 6 hours, and we only get 60 minutes. What's the deal? But what a special day, and hopefully it's going to warm up a little bit, but it's going to be a great celebration. And folks, wherever you are, come on out to Lake Michigan College today. Join us. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a member of First Church, but it's just important that we're together. We're together as a community, and I think, and I've told you this before, but I've been a member of First Church since 1996, and had the opportunity. Bob Moss was just a tremendous speaker and teacher, and then we brought in a guy like David Culp, who I'll tell you what, if you haven't listened to David Culp speak, this is your opportunity today.
We'd love
and I'm
to.
excited
We'd love to have him.
Yeah.
Anybody. Yeah.
And I'm excited that we're going to share you and everything that First Church has to offer over the next little bit.
Yeah, we're excited. We're hoping too. I mean, over these last several weeks, we've had people, joining the church virtually that have maybe never kind of participated in a quote unquote like official church service in a physical sense. So we're really hoping that they come out as well as a great opportunity to really just experience what First Church is all about. I tell you, I mean, I remember when Amanda and I first came here in 2009, and just walking into the church and just the warm welcome we were given, and just how we felt like we were home. We knew we had been church hunting because we just moved to the area, and when we set foot in First Church, we're like, this is it. This is where we're supposed to be. We've got a great team of volunteers here today who are eager and excited to help everyone feel welcome. I hear we even have donuts for some first-time guests. So that's a great perk.
Better, yeah. Score.
If I'm not mistaken, Red Coach donuts, not just
A little
any
shout out.
donuts.
A little shout out.
Yeah.
So Joy Bancroft has been busy working.
She has been busy.
And I think
busy.
they have had some curbside service and some things going on down there in downtown Stevensville. But one of the parts of the church that one of our values, David, is we're contributors, not consumers. What's meant by that?
Yeah, I think the church in some areas has had this negative stereotype that it's all about, I just come and it's a country club. I come, I sit, I sit and get.
Yeah.
A country club, you pay your dues, I throw a little money in the offering plate, I make myself feel good, and I go home. And I don't really live to change my world, impact my world. That doesn't matter as long as I pay my dues. But that's not our agenda. We feel like we want you to, if you call yourself a follower of Christ as a member of First Church, then we expect you to be engaged. We expect you to be a contributor, not just a consumer. And so you probably ought to maybe find a different place to go, because we're going to irritate you, because we're going to talk about it all the time, that you need to get out of the pew or the seat and just serve and to love the community. Be a contributor. Yeah, let's make a difference.
Just the days where we go and volunteer and shut down church and go work in the community. I mean,
crazy stuff
like that. That is, I was cleaning up trash piles in a ravine in Benton Harbor.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
it was a great day, and this is another kind of different thing that we're doing, trying to reach out, bring people back in, and really it'll be great to see some of the faces that normally we see on a Sunday or during the course of the week. We're going to see in your cars, and we have to remind you folks, if you're coming out today, and we want to thank our friends at Lake Michigan College for providing this facility for us. One of the rules that the college does have and during this time is that you stay in your vehicle, that we stay probably as far apart as we can and socially distanced, and we want to remind folks that just to kind of follow the rules,
and be respectful of the school. We're so appreciative. I'd like to just throw a shout out to Dr. Klotsky.
Trevor,
Trevor and his team. They've been Sarah, who does all the facility stuff. They've been awesome to work with, and it's so gracious of them to let us use this space.
So how'd you come up with this crazy idea to let's do a drive-in church service?
Well, we've seen some, around the country, but early on we threw this idea around. In fact, we were going to do it originally. In fact, I actually emailed Dr. Trevor before Easter. The first thought was, let's do it at Easter time, and that was before the world changed drastically,
right?
And so this is kind of the continuation of that. So early on, just thought, what a great way to get, because we have 3 campuses and we have no space. There's really we couldn't even all fit in the Mendel Center if we were all together. If all 3 campuses came together,
that's more than
not big enough.
1,500. Okay,
that's not even so. If when on a big event, so this was a place where all 3 campuses could come together. So we thought that would be a really cool opportunity. Yeah.
And we're going to get a chance again. We are at Lake Michigan College, exit 30 off I-94. Get off at Napier Avenue. We're at the main campus, and then when you come down the main drag to get toward the school, make a little left-hand turn. You're going to see a lot of folks out there. There's a lot of good signage.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to direct you to the service, and it is going to be kind of a traditional service, right?
Yeah, so we'll have we'll have some fun kind of before the service at 11 starts.
Yep.
So there'll be some fun elements as people are driving in or whatever. But yeah, we're going to worship the Lord. We're going to, there's nothing better than to get together and just be reminded that we serve this awesome God. So we'll have some great worship. Again, you can play over your radio. We got some sound so you can hear it. Got big LED screens. You can watch what's going on. So it's and good sermon. Again, just if somebody needs prayer, we've got pastors and prayer partners. We'll come to your car and roll your window down a little bit, and we'll pray for you through your window. So yeah, it'll be a lot of traditional elements.
And let's give a little tease here. I mean, you're going to be talking about how can the church maybe start to meet again.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Maybe.
Yes, Al. At the end, we're going to share a specific date, plans. So that's going to be at the end. You got to come to hear
if
it.
we have to call the governor, we'll call the governor. I mean, I have her cell phone number. We can call her and see if it's okay.
Yes. So I am really excited about that. I'm glad you mentioned that. It kind of made me come alive. Yes.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That was in my notes. I mean, I actually read my notes every once in a while.
That's good.
And so back to what David was saying about the service, we want people to be here by 10:30.
Yeah.
So that we can make sure that everyone,
big parking lot.
a big parking lot. We want to make sure that everyone has a spot where they can see what's going on. We actually have some really fun games we're going to do.
Stuff for kids.
We got stuff for kids. But again, we were talking about how you were saying it's going to be a traditional church service. I actually think it's going to be more fun than your traditional church service. So I think there's things we should probably incorporate from this and going forward every Sunday, right? Why wouldn't we have games before every church service?
You know, it's interesting. We had to have a graduation for the Bridge Academy.
Yeah.
And we had to completely change it. And what we did is we had the Benton Harbor fire truck come. We did a parade down Main Street in Benton Harbor. And one of the things we discovered is we might want to keep that element for next year. That folks really did get a lot out of it, and that it was different. Yeah, there wasn't a keynote speech, but here were some kids getting recognized by the community who normally don't have that sense of adulation and really being recognized.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it was really kind of cool. So
and there is some
thing here.
There's some good stuff. I mean, if you looking for the silver lining, there are some elements of this whole crazy world we're living in that so we might want to not
one of those things for me that I think that will continue that's been really impactful is I was able to join a Bible study this year because I was able to meet virtually with the group at 8 p.m. So in years past, traditionally, churches, and our church was in that boat. We say, all right, we have Wednesday night studies at 6 p.m. And but now I'm able to participate because I've got kids to put to bed. My wife doesn't get home from work till 6. So that's something. There's some really great things that are going to come out of this that people can join in other ways that they might not have been able to.
Yeah.
Well, Pastor David, we're going to let you get ready and go warm up in the bullpen here a little bit. And Bill Shepard is going to join us and talk a little bit about the children's ministry and the Vacation Bible School. And God bless you, and let's just have a great day.
Yeah, I'm going to go stretch a little bit. Don't want to pull a hammy while I'm preaching.
No, get loose.
Hey, thanks, David.
Jog a couple of sprints. Again, Al Pashoka along with Chris Britton. We are out here on News Talk 94.9 WSJM. We're doing the pregame show for the drive-in service here that is going to be coming up at First Church of God. Join us out here at the campus of Lake Michigan College, Napier Avenue. Get off exit 30, come straight down, make a little left-hand turn. There'll be volunteers, lots of folks from First Church to help you out. The first drive-in service, or as I called it, the vehicular Woodstock Church. is when I came here last night, we had a little warm-up last night. There's a huge stage. There's two big screens. It's like, Bill, it's like you're coming to some sort of concert or something out here.
It's pretty impressive. It's really fun. Yeah.
But tell us about what you're up to, and this is a really tough time for children and kids and families, and just the isolation and the understanding that you're not in school and things are different. Talk about Vacation Bible School coming up and some of the activities that are in your area.
Yeah, we were really excited to be thinking about how we could get Vacation Bible School out to families this year. It's something that First Church does all the time, and we're all involved in it. It
is awesome. It's a big
deal
huge
for us.
Yeah.
And so with this quarantine, stay-at-home stuff, we were scratching our head a little bit. But we are going to be doing Vacation Bible School online. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a great time with it. But it's going to be July 12th through the 16th, Sunday through Thursday. and it's going to be done online. We're going to offer it during 2 times. So at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and at 6 o'clock at night. So we have 2 opportunities for people to connect with Vacation Bible School this year. Now, July 12th, so Sunday, that's going to be our big day. That's going to be our drive-through celebration. Not perhaps quite as big as this thing, but it's going to be a big deal where people are going to be able to drive in, and if they've pre-registered, and that's really important. So today is actually Monday. Tomorrow is the last day to pre-register.
How can they do that? How do
so
you
they can get it
pre-register?
online, and it's right on our First Church website. They can pre-register, and that's going to be key because if you pre-register, we got a whole bag full of goodies and things that parents and kids can connect with Vacation Bible School. They'll be able to pick that up from 5 to 7 on July 12th. And then July 13th through the 16th, Monday through Thursday, we will have these great Vacation Bible School experiences with worship, and it's just going to be really a fun time.
Talk about the scope a little bit, Bill. I mean, how many kids do you usually serve, and then some of the activities that are going to happen within VBS?
Generally, we see about 550 kids at Vacation Bible School. Now, we're anticipating that to be a little lower this year just because it's at home and it's a little harder to connect, but we don't know. Yeah, and that's why it's really important to get pre-registered.
I was going to say, you might be surprised. This might make it easier for some folks. Maybe
it might. It might.
We just don't know.
So there's going to be worship. There's going to be crafts, little activities. There's going to be snack. We're even providing the snack. There's going to be Bible stories. It's going to be the whole Vacation Bible School and an experience that you can do right from your living room and safely with your family, or maybe even, hey, invite some friends from the neighborhood that you might be beginning to kind of release and get connected with people again. Bring them over the house and do it together.
You know, Bill, as a parent too, I'm really excited about the opportunity to do VBS with my kids. So typically I would drop them off, but now I actually get to walk through it with them. I'm excited about what that means for my family and that family experience.
Yeah, we're asking all the parents to volunteer this year. So it's going to be.
You're in. You're in, Coach.
Put you in.
You're in.
It's going to be a great time. I encourage you, get registered today for Vacation Bible School.
myfirstchurch.org.
myfirstchurch.com/kids, and you'll be able to see it right there.
All right. Bill, thank you. Bill Shepard.
Thanks,
all
Bill.
right. We'll look forward to seeing everybody in a few minutes.
Pastor Bill, who handles children, families, and a lot of young people activities, which is just great. And Adam is going to join us as we talk about students. And we were again. This is Al Pasholka along with Chris Britton. We're out at Lake Michigan College. Come on out, folks. It is the first drive-in service.
Parking lot's filling up. People are coming in.
Yeah, folks are starting to make their way to campus. Come down the main drag, make a little left-hand jog, and we'll get you situated and ready for church. How is that? How cool is that? Yes, we get to do church today. Adam, tell us a little bit about your area, and with this pandemic and everything that's going on, kids have not been in school. And what kind of challenges does that pose for you and what you're trying to do?
So definitely from a student ministry standpoint, it's been an interesting season. Trying to navigate and figure out how to connect. And so we've had to recreate a few things. Thankfully, there's a lot of technology out there that was available. Right. It just was a matter of us learning how to best utilize it and then make it available and accessible. And so, I think our team has done a great job. Alex Weeks, our associate student ministries pastor, and then Colby Kerr, our youth ministries intern. The 3 of us, and then we have incredible volunteers. And so really the key for us was just to stay connecting to people. Right. And I think for all of us during this season, that's been so important. The season of forced isolation, we have to be very intentional about connecting with people. So we've got a great group of youth volunteers as well, who I think they hit it out of the park, in my opinion. So.
And you think about middle school and high school kids and missing out on prom and spring sports and graduation. What are you hearing from kids? What are they feeling during these times?
Well, I think a lot of students have really maintained a pretty positive attitude. Overall, they've said, hey, there's nothing we can really do about it.
Right.
And so it really, to me, it shows a level of maturity in this year's senior class, especially, as as let down as they felt about the things that they were missing out on, what was interesting to hear is the thing that they were longing for was just to be with their friends again. So it wasn't so much, hey, I missed out on these events, but it was I missed out on these moments, these relationships, which, again, those are so vital. And so I was really impressed by our senior class, just the level of maturity that they demonstrated, and saying, hey, you know what, this is rough, but, and even hearing students saying, you know what, we believe God has something bigger for us through this. And so
that's something we all could learn from that, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah,
definitely. And so, so that's been great. We've got a few of our recent graduates who are here serving today. You know, excuse me.
Look at that, he did the appropriate cough, too. I know, if you're listening, you couldn't see it, but it was well done.
You never want to cough around people nowadays. It's like, oh gosh, does he have? No, it's just, sorry.
God, I just hope I don't sneeze anywhere, right? It's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen?
So some of them are serving here today, and so it's been great. My role this weekend, or the last couple weeks leading into this, have just been kind of to help oversee the different pieces. There's a lot of moving pieces, and again, teamwork is so vital. And so we have so many high-capacity leaders, and then so many high-capacity volunteers who are really making this happen. And so I just got to oversee and kind of make sure I got to see all the puzzle pieces and make sure that they went together correctly. And so we're really excited. If you're watching right now, I'm hoping that you're drinking some coffee and getting ready to come and get here. It's 9:50, and so we don't start for an hour and 10 minutes. But as Al said, as we started, as you come down the main avenue there, we got people ready to greet you, and we're really thrilled. And so we've been telling them the radio channel change.
Yeah.
So 88.3.
88.3.
Yeah.
When you get here, that's
When you get here, you'll pick that up, and you can. They'll hear your voices as you're talking. I'm really excited for something that you're going to lead, Chris. I wanted to take this opportunity to.
All right, get a plug in for Chris.
So at 10:30, if you are planning to come, you need to plan to be here before 10:30, or be here by 10:30 so you can be in the
before
parking lot.
10:30. Yep.
There are some really cool things we're going to do on the screen that we're really thrilled with. So it's a chance to see some of our pastoral staff. We took some really interesting pictures of them, and we have photoshopped their faces and put them as heads on cars. And we're going to play a game together in the parking lot utilizing your car horn. And so a little bit of a road race, and Chris is going to lead that. It's going to be really funny. We'll see how many times they crash into each other. But,
it's going to be great.
And then the other thing is we're going to play a Kahoot today. So Kahoot, this is one of the things you were asking what we've done with students. Kahoot is an online game, and so if you have a smartphone, if you can get on the internet when you get here, you're going to go to kahoot.it in your web browser, or you can download before you get here the Kahoot app.
Kahoot is Kahoot.
Okay. Yep, that is correct. So Kahoot, and then Chris is going to lead us through some drive-in trivia, and so had some fun creating that, and it's really interesting. I can't give away the answer though. I can't give away the answer, but
there's a connection to today.
There's a connection
to
today,
like in the drive-in technology.
Well, we can say the first drive-in ever. First drive-in theater opened on June 6th. Today is the 7th. So opened on June 6th of a certain year. And so it's kind of neat. As we were planning our drive-in, we're like, wow, so many years ago, almost to the day, we're having ours. So pretty neat.
Well, I'm a little older than you guys. I actually remember going to the drive-in theaters.
I do too.
So
I went.
You went?
Yeah.
All right.
Did you ever sneak in the trunk?
A friend of mine had a Buick Wildcat. Yeah, there. You could get 3 or 4 of us in a trunk.
There you go.
Yeah.
So Adam, tell us about the donuts. I'm really excited about the donuts. I wish I was getting donuts, but I'm not. But
I'll try really hard to not be offended that you asked me about donuts. I'm just kidding. Yeah, they're great. No, so Kate Ott and our communications team and guest service team, they've done a great job. If you come today and you are a visitor, this is your first time here, you'll see some signs out there. You probably should have gotten some communication earlier this week and even this morning. When you pull in, we want you to turn on your flashers, your hazard, that little triangle button in your car. Turn those on and keep those on as you come in the parking lot until one of our guest services team members gets to your vehicle with a box of donuts from Red Coach Donuts. I mean,
they are amazing.
They're they're pretty good. So we smell them. They're not for us. I'm not new, so I don't get a donut, but they smell amazing.
And look, if you've been attending church for a while, like, we know who you are. So if you turn your flashers on, this is a church. This is a church. So just think about that. We might not be in the church building, but God's still here. So you better be really careful before you tell that lie.
Yeah, that's really. I won't tell you the number of families that I've heard say, "Hey, if you have any extras, what happens if we turn on our hazards?" It's just kind of like the second level of donut recipients.
We know who you are. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Talk about the logistics that had to go into putting this thing on. I mean, this is amazing. The amount of volunteers and staff that have spent time to put this together.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving pieces. Again, I think the key is just having, everybody has their area. And the great thing about our staff and then our volunteers is our staff works really well together. Obviously, people who know that the recent history of our church, we've gone through some difficulties, but I think those have helped to solidify our team, and really we feel more like a family than we do people who work together. And so as we talked with our volunteers this morning, and kind of a constant reminder for us is we're here to serve. And so it says, on our name tags, here to serve. We talked about it this morning in 1 Peter 4:10. Peter tells us, hey, just as you've received a gift, use it to serve others. Mm-hmm. And so everybody's done their part. The great thing too is Lake Michigan College has been wonderful to work with. Sarah Vanderveen, as we've communicated with her, and then they've got a team of people handling different aspects from security and safety and zoning and all sorts of things. They've gone above and beyond. So we're so thankful for our partnership with them and their willingness to let us use their facility here this week. So. And
Adam, kudos to you, man. Working on staff with you, you've done a great job organizing this. It's been good to kind of come underneath your leadership. So thanks so much for helping pull this together. Again, I'm really excited about today. So it's going to be a great day.
Awesome. Thank you. It's good to be here.
So the first drive-in service out here at Lake Michigan College. Hope you can join us. Asking folks, if you can, try to get here by about 10:30. Lots of help as you go into the main entryway to the campus. Lots of volunteers, and one of the first people I met at First Church when my wife and I were, I grew up Lutheran. My wife grew up Catholic, and we moved to Southwest Michigan, and we were
met in the middle.
We were kind of looking for a church, and some friends of ours said, you ought to go check out First Church over at Niles and Botham, and the first thing that kind of drew us in was great program for our daughter. And one of the first guys I met, Chris, was Pastor Bob Confer, and that was, well, I know 25, 26 years ago.
Wow.
And Pastor Bob, I just want to thank you for your service. I know you're kind of winding down and getting ready for retirement. And if you could just reflect on First Church and where we were, maybe even back in the 90s, and where we are today out here at the college doing a drive-in service.
Yeah, it's been a great journey.
Yeah.
As I say, it's been a wonderful ride.
Yeah.
And it really has been. Been to First Church for 35 years. Prior to that, I was in 2 other congregations for a total of 10 years. So at 45 years, it's time to kind of shift gears a little bit and change seasons. Back when I first came, Jim Cook was a senior pastor.
Right.
And I've managed to indoctrinate 3 senior pastors through the years.
Coach them up.
There
Get
you
them
go.
coached up.
There you go.
That is great.
So it's been, each one has their own personality. Obviously, the church has changed under each of their leadership.
Yeah.
And that's been a great part of the process, really. And the church has been gracious enough to me to keep me on. When I first came, you think of the number of persons on staff as pastors right now. Back in that day, in 1986, when I first came on, I was the second associate pastor. There was another gentleman by the name of Ken Wiedrich was on staff. And so there was just 3 of us on staff. And so we operated as a small leadership team and made decisions collectively and led the church. Back in those days, we probably had a morning attendance, maybe 300-ish. And so it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been good. Through the years, I came on doing all of children's ministry, all of Sunday school, which was pretty big back in that day, all of our adult discipleship kinds of things, and all of youth ministry. So I was wearing several hats at the time, and did that for several years and just had some wonderful experiences. We grew at that point. Jim was with us maybe another 2 years or so, and then Bob Moss came along.
Yep.
And so under Bob's leadership, the church grew considerably. And with that, youth group that I was leading at the time really took off and grew. And we got to the point where it's like, I just can't keep all these balls afloat. And so with that, we said, well, what can we do? And so we came up with the idea. Chris had been a youth pastor out in California.
Yes.
And came on board and took a great job moving youth ministry another notch or two ahead. And so that freed me up to do some other ministries like Stephen's ministry and some pastoral care kinds of things. And so I was able to change some hats and diversify a little bit more, and it's been a good match.
Yeah.
And you've been primarily dealing with kind of the senior population. And Bob, what are you finding during this time? What are some of the I imagine just real challenges for our seniors who are feel disconnected at times anyway.
Right.
And now you throw this whole pandemic and everything else going in on top of it.
They feel very isolated for sure.
Right.
And struggle. Some of them have health issues, and so you add that to the pandemic, and it just multiplies it. At the same time, as I talk to some of them by phone and so forth, they are anxious to get back together again. Looking forward to that, and it's like, well, how can we do that? How do we do that? So we've been making a lot of phone calls. I send out a weekly devotional kind of encouragement letter that goes out.
Great.
And hopefully I've heard feedback that's been helpful to folks and a good thing. But I'm optimistic that we're going to get a leadership team together hopefully yet this month in June. And we've had to cancel a number of activities for that group this late spring. And I'm really hoping that we can pull that group back together at least by fall, if not August.
Yeah, I just wonder if there's ways you could do things in smaller groups, or I imagine it's just difficult to make that
and
transition.
they're concerned about their well-being.
Absolutely.
Some of them have compromised health, and so it'll be interesting to see how that all pulls together. Yeah.
You mentioned the growth of First Church, but Bob, while it's grown and there's more members, you still have that feeling of connection and that it's not a big, huge church where you're lost.
And some of the age level ministries that we do, might involve 50 people or 75 people. That I think has been a real contribution to keep that sense of closeness. Without those ministries, if you're just looking at Sunday morning worship and the Mass, then that's it's a different picture. But if you can do some things that we've done to be able to bring smaller groups together, middle-sized groups together, and connect and develop friendships, that's made a huge difference.
So as Pastor David says, we're a both-and church, right? We do large gatherings and then we do small gatherings, and I can speak from firsthand experience too of even on behalf of my in-laws that moved here a couple years ago. They were able to get plugged into one of Bob's. Actually, I think they're in a small group with you, Bob, but also into one of your age group ministries, and it's been a really great way for them to get connected. Where again, if you walk into just First Church, it could feel a little intimidating, right? Like, where do I find my place? But we have a place. We have something for everybody to do,
and that's been a blessing.
Yeah, and you've done a great job kind of curating those groups.
Yeah, well, it's been fun doing that. You may not, Al, know, but we have really 2 older adult groups. I say that a little bit tongue-in-cheek because you don't want to be labeled that way. But there would be a group for you, Al.
I'm probably reaching a different group.
That would not be 65
different
and above.
demographic. I'm almost there.
But you're
I'll
not
be
quite.
60 in September. Right.
But not quite.
Okay.
So they're active adults, and so we try to target 45 up to 65-ish, and some people who are 65-ish say, well, which group I'm supposed to be a part of? And so my comment usually is, well, we don't. What's the term?
We don't discriminate.
We don't card you.
You don't card you. We don't
Yeah.
card you coming in, so you can go to either or both. And so there's a number of folks who really do both groups because they're diverse enough and enjoy the different activities. And so it's kind of fun to see that. So we don't card them, just say, hey, come to what you want to do. And it's worked out well.
Well, Bob, thank you for your service, and God bless you for all the great work that you've done over the years.
It's been an honor to serve this congregation and a real joy, and I just can't say enough of appreciation for the life of First Church.
Thank you.
God bless you.
All right, we're going to hear from our campus ministers coming up next. Again, Al Pasholka along with Chris Britton. We are at Lake Michigan College, Benton Township, the main campus, the first drive-in service. So exit 30, Napier Avenue. Come on down, join us. Try to get here by about 10:30. Church will start at 11. We've got lots of volunteers. We've got lots of folks out here. And I mentioned that, Chris, that we joined First Church back in the 90s, and one of the reasons we actually stayed is the guy that's to my right did such a great job with our daughter Angela when you were doing middle school stuff, and that's Chris Spitters. And I know Bob's been here a long time, but Chris, you've been here a long time too, and we've kind of followed you a little bit. We split our time between Stevensville and what we call the mothership, St. Joe. So when we want to go to the mothership, but Chris is so convenient for us, and we've had a long relationship with you. And let's talk about Stevensville and Benton Heights. We've got Pastor Jamie here, and the whole notion of, going from St. Joe and then setting up these different satellites. I mean, why? Why did we want to do that?
Yeah, well, it's been great to have community center, locations, so people can have a church in their community that they can be a church family they can be a part of. We needed to grow. We needed space. Yeah. So it was either, dump a lot of money into a big, huge, building to get everybody in,
or go closer.
Yeah. So we went to the neighborhoods where some of our people were, and went from there.
Well, again, it fits our both and kind of mentality, right? Like we can be a large church, right? But we can also provide some smaller settings too. And again, people, because we have the 3 campuses, people can find something that fits their style and what they're looking for the best.
Yep.
And Jamie, well, I haven't had the opportunity to meet you before. I've gone to Benton Heights a couple of times, and doing some great work out there. Really are. And
thanks. There's a lot of work to be done out there. We've got our work cut out for us, but we're really excited about it. I think Benton Heights is a very dynamic place to be at, and so there's something happening Monday through Sunday out at Heights. So it's really exciting, and God's blessed us with a lot of facilities to do it. I think we've kind of got the infrastructure out at Heights to really make an impact on scale.
Yeah, Benton Heights has our newest facility. Tell us a little bit about the new facility. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. So it's the ministry center out at Benton Heights. It's about 9,000 square feet, and I call it Noah's Ark. It's just this massive building, right? It's out there. I'm convinced that if we had a flood out there, that thing might float. But it's a great facility. We've got like a full court basketball court indoor. It's the only one out there in the community. Yeah. We've got just this amazing facility, great sound. Just we can really do a lot of really cool things outside of just having services. We have hosted Wonderland.
Mosaic Wonderland Toy Store.
Toy Store. We were going to pre-COVID. We were gonna have a couple of organizations, local organizations like Habitat for Humanity was gonna do a fundraiser there, and so we really like David. I love that clip of David when they first broke ground. I wasn't here yet, but I saw it, and he said, "We want to wear this building out." And so we really, really want to do that out at Heights, and I feel like we have an awesome opportunity to do so.
That is great. I know there's some great work going on out there. And how have you been able to stay connected during the last 3 months?
Yeah, that's been a challenge. And actually, out in Stevensville, it's been a goal of ours for the past few years to become a more connected church family. And it's maybe a bit easier there in a smaller setting. Yeah. When you can kind of recognize people maybe a little bit easier. But now that we're not meeting, that's been a definite challenge. So
in the Stevensville campus is a lot of younger families. I mean, a lot of young families coming up, and we've seen quite a few kids, right?
Yeah. A lot of kids.
So
what we've done past few months to stay connected is meet through Zoom, of course, and Google Meet, and online connections. But I've seen people get really creative, pulling into a parking lot and getting all their cars in a circle and
tailgate.
Yeah,
little tailgate church.
Yep.
This is kind of a big tailgate church we're doing out here at the college.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. Hey, we had a graduation parade So, you can't have a graduation celebration
Right.
with packing people in, but you can parade by the house. And we've
Yeah.
had some birthday celebration drive-bys, families just supporting each other that way.
Now, I know David's got some sort of announcement coming up later. Is that going to sort of involve you guys too? And you don't give away the farm, but we
Right,
can tease
yeah.
folks a little bit. It's okay.
I plead the fifth. Yeah, sorry. I'll let David make the announcement.
Jaime, that's really wise.
Well, gentlemen, it is. You guys are doing just some tremendous work, and really, it's brought the church closer to consumers, to people that we need to reach.
Yeah.
And keep up the great work.
There's,
right,
if there's anything, there's a couple of awesome things that have come out of this. It's that it's forced us to be innovative, right? It's forced
Yeah.
us to really think outside of the box, and come to that realization that the building might be closed, but the church never closes.
Yeah.
And so the work continues. We still have to find ways to minister to people. So I think we're going to come out of this a lot stronger. I think we're going to come out of this with some things are going to stay. Some of the things that we've come up with will stay with us, and others will just be for a season. But I'm really excited about the event today, and this is just awesome. A big step in that direction.
Yeah, and so again, some new folks who maybe joined the church virtually, they might not be aware that we are a church of 3 campuses. We have a St. Joseph campus over there on Niles, right across from the Neon Grill. That's with the car on top. Then we've got our Stevensville campus, which is out there in Red Arrow, and then we have our Benton Heights campus out on Euclid. And so if someone's new, we would encourage them maybe check out all 3 campuses and find the place that best fits you. Right? We would have no problem if someone kind of hopped around between to find the place that worked
I'm
best
guilty.
for them.
I mean, I've done it. I mean, I continue to do it.
Yeah.
And
You got to come out to Heights. It's
Yeah.
by far the best of the 3
oh, here we go.
campuses.
There's the sales
It's
barrier.
not even-
There we
not
go.
even
That's
close.
right. A little competition.
Just saying.
Iron hardens iron. That's good. Iron sharpens iron.
I
That's
do
good.
say we have the best coffee.
You do have
That's
that
a
coffee
given.
bar.
That's a
He
given.
does have the coffee bar.
The Stevensville
Whatevs.
campus, the Stevensville campus used to be a funeral home.
Yeah,
And
Florin
we
Funeral Home.
went in, remodeled it, so moved it from a place of death to a place of life.
Great,
So that's kind
great
of our
symbology.
that's our tagline there.
Lakeshore Rotary, I think, is still there.
Yeah,
Right? The Lakeshore
yeah.
Rotary Club meets there, so it is.
Yep.
It's become really an important piece of that whole Stevensville Lakeshore area. So, congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
fellas.
guys. Thank you,
All
guys.
right, Pastor Chris, Pastor Jamie, Benton Heights, and Stevensville in the house. Al Pashoka along with Chris Britton. We are on the campus of Lake Michigan College, right off exit 30, Napier Avenue, and come out and join us for the drive-in service. We're asking folks to try to arrive 10:30 or so we can get everybody situated.
Got some fun
and they've
games
got
at
some fun
10:30.
games. I mean,
Yeah.
Chris has got a big show coming up
Yep.
at 10:30, so make sure you're here for that. And then First Church begins as we normally do
Right.
on a Sunday at 11 o'clock. But come on in. We've got lots of volunteers that can direct you. Don't worry, you're not going to get caught in some sort of traffic jam on the way
Nope.
out. We're going to find a way to get you in and out of here as quickly and easily as possible. And Chris, you're up next to talk about
Yeah.
New Heights CCDA and some of the work that is going on there. And let's talk about what you're up to.
Yeah. So New Heights is it's a nonprofit, but it's a ministry of First Church. We had several ministries under the church at the time that were really growing and really meeting needs in the community. And we realized that they were almost outstripping the capacity of the church. And we said, man, how can we set these ministries up so that they can be successful and that they can serve the most people? So out of that, New Heights was born. And then that's kind of where that was under my purview at the time. And I've since that's really where I began to kind of like hone in my focus on that. So.
I mean, I got to know it through some of my work in the legislature, and we were able to provide some funding for Connexus that helped some of the
partnered with
activities
Connexus,
that you've been doing, and then let's talk about some of those direct activities that make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, so we have really three main things that we're doing right now. 2 programs and 1 initiative. The initiative is what we call the Benton Heights Community Development Council. So obviously First Church is a stakeholder in the community, and we want to see that neighborhood grow and thrive. But we realize that that's not something I can just do. So it's really what the neighborhood needs to do. So the Community Development Council is a group of residents that comes together and they make the plans, they have the dreams for how they can better their community, and then New Heights comes alongside them with the resources, and we partner to do stuff. So like last year they organized a tire collection where they helped clean up the neighborhood, and that was a great initiative. So it's kind of a partnership between us and the community. One of our other programs is called Community Food Network, and that is a food ministry. It is basically a leveled up from a food pantry. Food pantries are very transactional.
Right.
They're relief oriented, but there's a lot of people in our community that find themselves just in constant food insecurity. And so the way Community Food Network is structured, they come to us twice a month and they become a member. And we want them to come. Versus the food pantry might be like, oh, you're back again. This is a situation where like they're part of a family and they come and they work together to sort the food. It's very dignified. The last thing that we do is called New Heights Auto Services. And this has just been growing like crazy. It started off in just a one-stall garage with volunteers working like every other Saturday. Now we own a 7,000 square foot building. We have a full-time mechanic, and our goal is to provide reliable transportation to those who are trying to gain, maintain, or increase their employment.
Well, two of the big issues when you talk to employers, and Connexus has been doing some work inside particular companies, a lot of manufacturing companies. The two big issues that have been identified, one is the first one, transportation, far and away,
Yes.
the biggest one. The one that surprised me, Chris, when I joined Connexus a couple of years ago, was food.
Yep.
And I just wouldn't have thought in this area where we have such an agricultural presence that folks would have problems with food insecurity. But when you think about it, if your funds are going to pay the rent, to
Correct.
pay the car payment, to make the insurance payment, what's the one thing you might scrimp on? It's food, and
That's one of the things that
surprised me.
we've touted with Community Food Network is we've told people like, hey, if you maybe food isn't your direct need, but if you come join this, we're going to get you a lot of food for next to nothing, and then then you're able to reallocate some dollars to some other areas as well.
So, Chris, if somebody wanted to volunteer or get involved or do something with New Heights, what would they do?
So I think the best next step would be to check out our website where you can kind of learn about all the programs. There's a contact us form there, and that is newheightsccda.com. Newheightsccda.com.
All right, Al Pashoka along with Chris Britton. Chris talking about New Heights. We are alive at Lake Michigan College for the first drive-in service. And exit 30, folks, Napier Avenue, come right down Harrison Way. We'll direct you to the left side parking lot right in front of Beckwith Hall near the athletic fields. And we're asking if you can get here by about 10:30 because Chris has got some really cool stuff for you to do. That way we can get everybody situated. If you're new, you might get a Red Coach donut if you come in. I mean,
Donuts, plural.
Yeah, donuts.
Donuts.
Yeah, I mean, so, and if you're one of the regulars, we know who you are and don't try to get a donut.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, the parking lot's
We'll
filling
get
up.
a
This
cup of
is
coffee in a few months.
Especially if you go to the Stevensville campus, it has a really
Yes,
nice
they
coffee
do
bar
have the
that,
nice
that
coffee
Spitters
bar.
was just pushing
Yes,
pushing a while ago.
yes,
David
yes.
Culp is back with us, the lead pastor at First Church, as we've been spending the last 40 or 45 minutes talking about all of the different things. And David, I think Bob Confer brought up an interesting point, and I guess I haven't even noticed this, and I've been a long-term member, how big the church has become, but it doesn't feel that big.
Yeah. And we've really tried to work hard to make that reality.
Yeah,
To-
and-
there's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, but each individual person matters. Yeah.
Now, we know you've got an announcement coming up later about maybe when the church family can start to gather again. We did try to get it out of your campus pastors. I'll
Did
have
they-
you know they
did- oh, no.
Pastor Jamie pleaded the fifth. And then Chris Spitter says, that was really wise. So they gave up nothing.
Nice.
I mean, you have done
Awesome.
really well. You
Awesome.
got it locked down.
Got
brother.
them locked down.
You got it locked down.
We want it to be a big secret.
Talk about give us a little bit of hint of what you're going to talk about today, because I thought last week's message about principles and how God is interacting in all of us during some really, really tough times where folks are struggling.
Yeah. Well, I think there's three things to really think about that we want to talk about today. One, where is God in all of this? Because that's a question that comes up. You get the pandemic and locust plagues and hurricanes, and And in the
Killer
midst-
hornets.
killer hornets, all of that, toilet paper shortages.
Yeah.
Where is God in the suffering? So that's a deep question that people have talked about for millennia. But we're gonna hit that. Where's God in this? Where are you in this? And again, if you are just joining us recently, we'll give people a chance if they'd like someone to pray with them at their car. We've got pastors and
They'll have
preaching
masks
people.
on. We'll practice social
Yeah.
distancing.
But we'd love to pray for you individually. You were talking about that individual thing, that every individual person matters. So we'd love to do that. So we're talking about where you are. Just recognize there's a lot of individuals. There's this global thing, and unemployment's X percentage, but that's a number, that's a person. So we'll do that. And then the last thing is, where do we go from here? What's that going to look like? And really, that'll be a rally cry for First Church. We feel like our mission is to restore God's ideal, whatever that looks like. And so we've been apart. We've been still the church doing a lot of great things, but I'm excited to be back. And
So there is
that's
lots of challenges out there, but with challenge comes opportunity, right? I mean, there's the
Yes.
opportunities.
Yeah.
You've had to kind of shift, do things a little bit differently. Obviously, today is
a little different.
really differently.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing a drive-in service on a college campus, and again, we want to remind folks, no matter where you are in your faith journey, doesn't matter what church you go to, if you want to come out and experience it, please come out and join
Absolutely.
us today.
Yeah.
We are an inclusive bunch of folks.
Yeah.
We don't judge you. Just come and join us.
Yeah.
Right?
So we actually went through the archives of the church, and in our 10-year history, this is only the first drive-in service like this.
It's going down in the book.
114 years. It was 1906. Remember
So we're thinking maybe in another 110 years or so we might do another one of these. So put it on your calendar.
But some of the principles, though, that you've had to adopt, whether it's
Yes, have
Zoom
not
or
changed.
reaching out
Yes.
differently,
Yes.
and Adam talked about, we've got to connect with kids differently.
Yeah.
We're doing Vacation Bible School
Right.
differently.
Right.
I mean, you can actually, some of that can be incorporated maybe in the future as well.
Absolutely. I think we've learned some things. Some things like the online, there's it's like Chris was talking about earlier, being able to be a part of a class just because of life. He wouldn't have been able to do that Bible study.
Right.
We need to keep some of that stuff.
It's so good for me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a great experience and opportunity. Something I've wanted to do for a while, but again, just my station in life right now, 4 young kids, my wife and I work. And so it's really created a good new opportunity for us. And I hope that as we will continue to do that, and that other people will be able to join in on that.
Yeah, we've got to incorporate some of the old and some of the new, right?
Yes.
And just
Yeah.
continue to grow. and
Messaging isn't
see-
changing. It's just
No,
kinda
that's
how
right.
how we're connecting. And actually now I think we have more options on ways to connect. And I think that's going to be beneficial for us all. Because I mean, life is busy. It's it takes you all sorts of different directions. But because of this, we can now connect kind of wherever we are.
Yeah, and David and I talked about this briefly, and prior to the coming on air, is the situation that we're in now. We're even starting to see inside families, folks have different points of view that are in conflict.
Yeah.
And how we resolve those conflicts, I think, is try to find some sort of common ground.
Yeah.
And the one thing, and this is not a political statement or anything else, the one common ground that we can find is there a higher power out there? Do you believe that there actually is? If we could just start there,
Yeah.
I think that at least opens up the conversation. And yes, there are other issues that we all have to deal with, right?
We have to remain grounded in Scripture and God's Word, and I think that's really the lens at which we need to look at things. And if we can rally around that, say, we're Christ followers first, and God calls us to love. He calls us to love our neighbor, and that applies to every side of every discussion.
Yeah.
Right.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
And how can we do that first? There'd be a lot less this angst and animosity if we figured out how to.
And that's one of the things.
Practical ways. Mourn with those who mourn. Come alongside. We don't
That's
have to
one of the
agree on
things-
everything, but just put our arms around people and say, "I'm sorry, what you're going through."
And that's one of the things I've loved about First Church too, just in our involvement, is just that I feel like we are a church that's about that. We're about loving your neighbor. We're about, come as you are. You don't have to have it together. You don't have to be.
Which is good. for
Yeah,
me.
that's good for me too. Yeah, you don't have to.
I know it's good for Al.
You don't have to vote this way or that way. Like you are welcome here. We want people to be a part of that, and that's what I love. Like as David, you say, we major in the majors. We don't major in the minor issues.
Yeah. And we feel like this is our time. We should be speaking into our culture and what's going on. We can't just build a wall around the church and hope 1950 comes back. We have to engage our world, and the church.
Like a drive-in.
like a drive-in.
Yeah,
Be creative.
1950s, a drive-in.
Yeah. True. Yes. Hadn't even thought about that.
But it's a great example, right? We're not in our church. This is. I mean, I
Right.
feel like our church has done a great job of saying, you know what, we are not the building.
Yes.
We're not confined to our 3 campuses. Al says our 12 walls.
Yeah. Get out of the 12 walls. Right.
Yes. Yeah. And to be an encouragement to other churches, just to, hey, we're on. Well, that's one of the things I love about the Church of God is we have that view that we're all on the same team.
What are you? That's a great question. And I know we've got just a short amount of time, but what are you hearing from your colleagues?
Yeah, I think it's just all over the place, all over the map. But a lot of churches they're making their plans to get restarted. We actually have a call with a lot of the churches in town because we try to stay. We want to be connected and even with our other sister congregations in town. So I'm talking to some pastors on Monday. We're going to talk about what some other churches are doing and share notes and yeah.
So I imagine everybody's going to be. It's going to be a little bit different.
Yeah.
If you're in a different state, or if you're in a different region, or when can you start, and how can you gather? And the good news for us right now is folks are starting to arrive.
Oh, it's great. This is really exciting.
To line up.
I see volunteers walking around talking to people. Again, everyone's got their masks on, but the energy here is really great right now. It's exciting to see people connecting. Horns honking.
Yeah.
Pastor Bob's out there. He's like going door to door. Like, talk about a politician. He's out there knocking doors. We got Shepherd out on the doors over here. We got Confer on the doors. I don't know what happened to Spitters. He went to have a cup of coffee or something. Oh yeah, he's back here on the phone. But this is going to be a great day. It is a great day to be part of this community, part of this church. And again, you don't have to be part of the church to be here with us at a drive-in service, Lake Michigan College, exit 30. Napier Avenue. We've got lots of folks out here to welcome you, to greet you, to make sure that you're part of a very special day in Southwest Michigan.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
Do not want to miss it.
Yeah. So come on out and join us. Pastor Culp, thank you. Thank you for your leadership and everything you're doing in the community.
It's awesome
good
to
stuff.
serve. We love this community. This is home. We love being here. We love Southwest Michigan. It's a great place. What do you always say? It's a great place to.
Yeah, Michigan's great Southwest.
Michigan's great Southwest. Yeah.
Make it a great day in Michigan. And so come on out and join us here at Lake Michigan College, and we'll spend the final moments here with Chris as we try to get everybody out here, get them excited, get them ready to go. And this has been this hour has kind of flown by. I mean, it's just
really has.
It is amazing that the number of touch points that First Church has.
Yes.
Whether it's little kids or middle school kids or high school kids or what you're doing,
again,
trying to make a
for
real
everybody.
difference with people that people that are maybe struggling and need some help. But one of the things that you said, I think that fits in right with the core value of the church is, look, we are trying to give people a hand up to get to self-sufficiency. Right?
Yes, exactly. It's about hope. Too. Hope regardless of where you are in one of our ministries, whether it's an outreach ministry like auto services or a community food network, or if you're a family attending the church, where we believe in the hope that God gives us.
What do you think, Ed, from a staff perspective?
Sure.
I mean, what is the takeaway that you want folks to get out of today's message or today's service?
I really think unity is huge through all of this. Again, there's so much going on right now. So many politics and all. And again, I understand that's just how the world operates. But at the end of the day, like you said, we got to find the common ground. We got to remember that we are Christians first, and that we are God's children first. That we're all God's children. Again, no matter what side of any equation you're on, the other side of the equation is also God's children.
Yeah, we had that brief moment of unity. I think when what happened in Minnesota, everybody said is awful. It's terrible. That should not have happened. And then everybody kind of went to their respective
their corners, yep.
and got divided, and
Yep.
and here we are, and that's where I think the church is going to be so very important to kind of piece things back together.
We got to go
bring
back to the
folks
basics.
back together,
Yeah,
right?
the first things first. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, now tell us what you got coming up, because
So coming up, so first of all, if you're pulling in, make sure you're tuning in to 88.3. So, or when
Yeah.
you get here, turn your car radio to 88.3. There's signs in case you forget. But coming up, we're going to play some games. We're going to do some fun stuff in the parking lot. It's going to be a really good time. So parking lot's filling up. It's great to see people pulling in, and yeah, it's
well,
gonna
this
be
has
fun.
been an awesome hour. This has been Al Pasholka at Lake Michigan College, along with Chris Britton. Join us out here. The first